Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the corticospinal tracts and corticonuclear tracts. Okay. First of all, let's a little bit review for our previous lesson. Look at that. That's a lateral view of the hemisphere, and that's located the sulcus centralis. Sulcus centralis is located between the primary sensory cortex and primary motor cortex. Okay, and in our previous lesson we talked about the homunculus. In this lesson we also talked about that, and the plus information for you in our lesson is frontal eye field. Frontal eye field is located the anterior part of the supplementary zone of the cortex. Okay, frontal eye field is responsible for movement of the eyeball. Okay, let's start. And the motor neurons is two types. First one is primary motor neurons located in the hemispheres. Okay, and we call them as bat cells. Bat cells. Bat cells generate some kind of action potential and conduct it via its axons, and it can synapse with secondary motor neurons that are responsible for contracting the muscles of the body. Look at that. That's a homunculus. This some kind of collection of the motor neurons that's responsible for the movement of some kind of part of our body. And look at that. First tract is corticospinal tract. The second name is pyramidal tract, and the pyramidal tract is initiated from the homunculus that's responsible for the upper limbs, lower limbs, and the trunk of the body. And after accepting some kind of impulses from the bat cells, axons carry this information to the spinal cord via the internal capsule and brainstem, and when it reach to the connection between the brainstem and the spinal cord, the 80% of the fibers have to decussate, cross to the contralateral part, okay, from the right side to the left side. However, 20%, remaining 20% of the fibers continued its way ipsilateral part. Okay, the 20% of the remaining fibers continues its conduction and way via the anterior corticospinal tract, and the 80% of the fibers pass through the lateral corticospinal tract. Look at that. That's the main point. The location, the architecture of and the location of the fibers that's responsible for the movement of the parts is located in this direction. Look at that. That's the cervical part, thoracic part, the lumbar part, and sacralis part. Okay, and when the primary motor neurons axons reach the special part of the spinal cord, they connect with secondary motor neurons via some kind of interneurons. Okay, the secondary motor neurons exit from the spinal cord and innervate some types of muscle groups. Okay, and look at that. In the right side, the 20% of the fibers continues its direction via the anterior corticospinal tract. When they reach the special part of the spinal cord, they decussate and cross the spinal cord via anterior commissure to the contralateral side. Okay, and in the contralateral side, they connect with secondary motor neurons via some kind of interneurons. As a result, the impulses generate there and conduct to the muscles, and it can cause the contraction of the muscle and acting and performing some kind of actions. Okay, that's the first our tract, corticospinal tract, and second tract is corticomesencephalic tract. Corticomesencephalic tract initiated from the frontal eye field. Look at that. Frontal eye field, and their fibers collected and directed to the cranial nerves, third cranial nerve, fourth cranial nerve, and sixth cranial nerve. You know, the oculomotoris, trochlearis, and abducens is responsible for the movement of the eyeball. Okay, the abducens innervates the lateral rectus muscle, trochlearis innervates the superior obliquus muscle, and other remaining muscles is innervated by oculomotoris. Look at that. And next, our tract is corticobulbar tract. Corticobulbar tract is started from the hemisphere who is responsible for the action and some kind of muscle groups that located in the face and the neck. Okay, and look at that. So that's the neck, face, tongue, jaw, swallowing. Okay, all of the impulses that generated in these parts bad cells directed together to the brainstem. And that's the fifth cranial nerve. Fifth cranial nerve is trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal nerve is responsible for mastication. And next one is facial nerve. Facial nerve, you know, you can show your expression by smiling and crying and something like that by contracting your facial muscles. All of these actions is performed by facial nerve. Okay. And the next, our brainstem nervous cranial nerve, that's the glossopharyngeus and vagus. Both of them is participate to swallowing. Okay. The next, our cranial nerve is 11th cranial nerve. It's accessories nerve. You can shrug your shoulder and direct your head to left and right by this accessories nerve. Our last nerve is hypoglossal nerve, and hypoglossal nerve located there, and it's responsible for movement of tongue. The hypoglossal primary motor neurons initiated from this part of the cerebral cortex and directed to this way and connect with second neuron there. And after that, it exits from the brainstem and innervate our tongue. By this way, we can move or we can contract any muscle that we want by this mechanism and by these three kind of tracts. And all of the information that's prepared for our lesson is all. Thanks for listening and watching.